So Emma, thanks for coming back on the podcast.
Nice to see you.
No, it's good to see you again. So Emma came on my old podcast, which was known as the Keeping It Local podcast. People that are watching this, if you want to know Emma's story, we'll put the link on the description. You go into detail and depth in terms of your background and what you did. The people that are watching this for the first time, just give them a little bit of an insight what you do.
Right, okay, I'm a dog trainer first and foremost, and I try to keep reminding myself of that. I run Essex Dog Training, been running it for just coming up 10 years now, and have expanded the company a fair amount because of the pandemic, basically. So yeah, that's my business, is dog training.
No, fantastic. No, I really enjoyed your story last time in terms of how you did it and how you, where you've come to this point. So you're expanding then. So what's the plans going forward?
I carry on winging it. Okay, so yeah, the business, I'm one of the very, very lucky businesses that benefited because of the pandemic. Everybody was situated at home. Everybody that had ever thought about owning a dog suddenly found themselves in a position that they could own a dog, and that demand hasn't gone away and is still increasing. So all the time people are still getting puppies, and we are far busier than we ever were. So I reached saturation point, where are we, January 22, probably just after we spoke. I reached saturation point, and to be fair, a little bit of exhaustion as well, coming out of COVID, because we'd all pivoted online and people were saying, okay, you're working from home now, but it was exhausting kind of thinking about your business all the time, and setting up like many others, setting up my office in my bedroom and not being able to. So as we came out, I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted, and I found myself, I was a little bit short-tempered as well with people, because I was exhausted. So one of the things that I think that I pride my reputation on in the early days was the fact that I'm quite an empath. So I understand people, and I found that had disappeared a little bit because I was exhausted. So like anybody, I don't like turning business away. So firstly, we had a lot of desperate people, a lot of desperate dog owners, so that I wanted to help, and I couldn't because I just didn't have the capacity. And also, as a business person, it doesn't make good business sense to turn that business away. I'd got kind of 4 or 5 trainers come on board in Castle Point to support me, which was amazing. And then I took the plunge. I can't tell you at what point. There was no business plan in place. It was never part of a plan, never part of a pen to paper, but I was having a kind of tongue-in-cheek conversation with a friend, and they were like, oh, you ought to trademark Essex Dog Trading. Maybe like, and then we got, so now I've gone into franchising, set up the new company, which is Essential Canine Life Skills Limited, which is of course the book series. So the books that I wrote during COVID are called Essential Canine Life Skills, and that's what we kind of pride ourselves in teaching. So that's become the name of the franchise company. And we are, I'm already, hopefully Rochford is, so what I've done is I've split up Essex first into territories. Rochford looks like it's going to be the first one to be signed, hopefully in the next week or 2. And then because I've changed the company name, hopefully I can take that across the UK as well.
Brilliant. You're expanded. I like it. Before we talk about the franchise, though, I mean, I'm really excited to find out more about it. But what's that award I can see behind you?
Oh, yeah. This is my egg.
Look at that.
So, I don't know, have you come across Best Growth Hub?
Best Growth Hub. Did you mention it on
the last podcast? I don't know whether I'm allowed to say it. They do. They run, I think, by the council, but they're linked into the council, and they give small businesses massive amount of support, like masses. And have been amazing. I mean, I was entitled, and this is a really good thing for your listeners if they're business people, is to get involved with Best Growth Hub is our local one, or the local chambers of commerce or things like that, because you can access so much, can't you? So I remember, good 5 or 6 years ago, I got 12 hours free business mentorship as a grant, which really, really helped me. But yeah, they ran, because the Mayor's Awards didn't run last year, because of COVID, they ran the Novo Awards, which was based on innovation. So I decided to take the plunge and apply for the innovation and the way that we'd all kind of expanded onto technology, and the brand. So Essential Canine Life Skills brand can be accessed online via this sort of thing, by books, because some people like to read, by direct training, because some people, so there's like 4 or 5 strands that people can access the brand. And yeah, that's kind of the angle that we went in on. Oh my God, it was our first night out as well, since like we'd all been locked down, and I took all the girls, I do need some men on board actually, but I took all the girls, and it was like a red carpet too.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was phenomenal just receiving it. And actually, like when I found out I got it, I was like, I'm not winging it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I remember you put it on Facebook, and I was like, so happy for you. Just, how you've come since we last spoke. It was a proud moment. No, well done.
It was a very proud moment. Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, much appreciated. And honestly, I couldn't do it without the team behind me. I really couldn't do it without the team. They are phenomenal. At times, what it's like running your own business. At times you slap your head up against the wall. You might be slightly more short-tempered than you should be. And they're just there. They're always there behind me. And that's why I took them all along. The award, I couldn't have done that without them. So thanks.
Fantastic. It's good to acknowledge the team as well, because a big part, isn't it? It's having people around you that sort of help your business thrive.
Definitely. It's having the right people around you as well. So I have this big philosophy, because I obviously teach a lot of competitive agility, that if the team around you doesn't want you to win, they're not the right team. If they can't like celebrate your successes and everything else, then that's not the right circle to have around you. So yeah, they're a real good group. Love them to death.
I think they say that as well. You become the person who you surround yourself with as well. So if you're
massively, I think that is a real big step of my business growth. I really do, because coming from, fundamentally, I'm a self-employed dog trainer, right? That's found herself in a commercial world. Now, I do say to people, I'm just winging it. Just wing it. But I would say that's quite true for the first 4 or 5 years, certainly of running a business. I was just self-employed. I was a dog trainer. And I think sitting down with a mentor, when I came across the Best Grave Hub, and I sat down with him, and he was like, you've got a commercial background, because I came out of the city like as a child, not as a child, but 16, 17-year-old, I went into the city, and so I have got that commercial background, and I think none of us give ourselves credit really. So yeah, it's I've lost track now where I was going with that, but it's I think you've all got it in you, haven't you? Every one of us has got it in us to keep going and to grow the business. And it's like we were chatting before, the brand itself, I massively believe in, because I believe in it because it's obviously it's mine. But if you have the passion and you believe in what you're doing, then you can push it.
I believe. I love that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And you have to, but you've got to have the brand there. You've got to believe in what you're doing. And I don't know whether I'd done this when we were chatting, but I'd also last year won the Vodafone shout out for small businesses during the pandemic. So Vodafone Business UK ran a competition, and I don't know about you, but there were a couple of sleepless nights during the pandemic, and I found myself scrolling.
Just a few.
And I'd got an email newsletter, and I just like, I'm going to apply for that. I didn't have anything else better to do. And so we won a shout out for small businesses on the Vodafone and that was amazing. And we also, on the back of that, they gave us a social media overview. So I had like 3 or 4 meetings with social media gurus and what do they call them? Influencers,
people,
yeah,
mentors.
And I was chatting to this lady whose name I should remember. She runs, or is something to do with Nation Enterprise, something like that. They have lots of free resources. And I was chatting to my books, and she said, chatting about my books, she's like, "You're a published author. You've written books." And I'm like, doesn't everybody? I was like, oh yeah. When you did that during the pandemic, and you're not sounding like you believe in your books. And I'm like, it's just a book.
Oh, it's not. That's the thing. The fact that you've done it, the fact that you've been creative, it's not.
I know.
Not many people do. People can do it. That's the thing. Anyone can do it, but it's but people don't. But people don't take action. That's the thing, you know. And
no. So yeah. And I think again, one of my big beliefs is you can talk yourself out of anything. So I put a Facebook post up that says that basically if you fail, it's just because you put too many obstacles in your head. And what I have realized, you say you can put your mind to everything, and you can definitely, but I also realized that you need to get that team behind you. So suddenly I realized that I'd worked with a local photographer who's amazing to do the book covers for me. And I remember him saying to me at the time, "I'm not a book cover designer, Emma, I'm a photographer." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we can do this. And he was brilliant. And then when I started the brand was really starting to come alive and come together, he put me in touch with a graphic designer, and she was brilliant because she started to realize the brand for me. So suddenly you realize, yeah, okay, I wrote a book. I'm not an author. I'm not a book cover designer. I'm not this. And for me, I am a control freak. Yeah, so I did kind of realize that you can't do everything, you know. So I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a book cover designer. I'm not, you know, I sat down to write my franchise contracts and what I wanted, and I had this big bubble chart in front of me. My bedroom was covered in like A3 posters and like what I wanted, and I'm like, oh, actually what I need is a solicitor. So suddenly, you know, I invested in solicitors, and they were amazing. And it's really funny when you, like you say, when you surround yourself with the right people that want you to do well and want you to succeed. Even he was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Yeah,
it's fuel, isn't it? It's fuel. You. But I like what you said there. So you said you've got ideas, visions on the wall, kind of thing. I kind of believe to a point in the law of attraction. I do think.
Oh, massively. I follow it all the time. I do. Honestly, we could spend all night. Like this is it.
You've got a vision board. I like it.
Yeah, and at the peak of it, these are A3 post-it flip chart things. So I rip them off and I stick them up. And then I believe that the world is rosy and that everybody's brilliant and everybody's wonderful and nobody's ever horrible. Okay, I'm obviously quite deluded in that, but that's my belief. So I always see the best in everybody. So I have these things around my chart, and like the franchise owners are going to be amazing. And so I think there's only 2 or 3 franchises in dog training. And you could go and buy it. You could go and buy one of these franchises, because it's an unregulated industry. And I was so passionate about the brands and the fact that I built up my reputation for 10 years. I don't want Ryan Stanton coming in and training dogs because he can't, you know. So I have like a selection process going through it. So I don't just take anybody in, and that's brilliant. And then I have my friends who also does all my admin. She's amazing. And she comes into my office in my bedroom, and she will get a pen and she will go, "Well, we called him Bob." So my first franchise was going to be Bob's friend. It was Bob from Basildon, and he was going to be the first person that bought the franchise.
Bob from Basildon. I like it.
I know. I don't know why. And she was like, "Well, what happens if Bob does this, and what happens if Bob does that?" And it was stunning. And I'm getting a little bit emotional now, because when I look back at that moment when we just sat in my room like, this is actually happening.
That's amazing, isn't it? To know that you've thought of a plan, you've worked together, and you've manifested it. Basically, that's what you've done.
Manifesting. I honestly believe in this. Somebody got me into this big time after I was going through quite an emotional time, and I think it was after I lost my granddad, and that was quite hard. You definitely, the law of attraction, and it is so powerful, powerful.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer, when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up with a bit of the the rest of your day is going to sort of have a bit of a downward spiral. So
yeah, I agree.
That's why it's good to sort of get yourself in a positive mindset in terms of gratitude, what you're happy with, what you're pleased with. But I think where people go wrong, though, with the law of attraction is they think that you can visualize things, but not take action. So
yes, and you have to. You kind of. I think one of the things that stopped me was the fear of failure.
Yeah.
So we all are frightened of failure. Yes, but I think particularly entrepreneur people and business people, we don't want to fail. I'm massively competitive in whatever I do, and again, there was at some point last year, and I don't mind saying this, that I did step into counselling after my granddad died, and I was really struggling, and I'd kind of challenged some of my own behaviours. And kind of going through, if anyone's been through counselling, obviously that's what you have to do. You have to look at yourself and like, there's only one person that can change this, and that's me. And so what I did through some counselling sessions, a couple of things that I did was I got rid of the fear. So like, you can find yourself in a situation and you're like, okay, this isn't going to work because, and that's just fear. And I think if you can like believe in manifestation and my God, we could have a whole separate podcast on that, couldn't we? Because it's really nice to find someone else that thinks like that. It's a way of life, isn't it? Positive mindset. So it's not just thinking, okay, I'm going to think positive today, because you can't do that, and you have to keep the exercise going. So yesterday I had a particularly down, I can't remember what happened, but I was so angry and I was trying to get something done on my laptop because I've had COVID, so I've been in isolation. And so for me, I've not been exercising. The dogs are driving me mad because they're bouncing off the walls. A couple of people have helped me out, but they've not been out a lot. And I was allowed out yesterday. And I thought, do you know what? Slammed down my laptop and I went and did 9K. I didn't run 9K, but I walked, ran 9K. I felt so much better today, so much better. And then with that, you eat well, and then you have the energy, and then by having, the other thing that I found is being a nice person and an empath, people take advantage of that. So the other thing that I did in my life was I kind of got into the law of attraction and everything, was just put some healthy boundaries in place. And it's okay to say to somebody, no, sorry, I can't do that. And it's hard. It's so hard.
And that's the thing. I suppose when you're a passionate person, it's hard to say no occasionally because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. But sometimes,
I hate it.
Sometimes saying yes is not good for the other person.
It's not good for the other person, and it's not good for you. And I think that was one thing that I realised coming out of the pandemic as a business owner, was that something had to change. I was turning down business, which I wasn't happy with. I was exhausted, so I don't think I was a good dog trainer. Well, I was a good dog trainer, but I couldn't deal with people. I was done with being nice to people, and it sounds horrible. It sounds so horrible saying that out loud, and it was just because I was exhausted. I was mentally pressurized with the job, and it wasn't a bad time. It really wasn't a bad time, because so much good, but it was a real revelation that actually I can't carry on like this.
No. And it's good that you've recognized that, because there's going to be other people in different walks of life, because people that watch these podcasts, they're usually business people that want to start up their own businesses. People do sort of Yeah, they need to do it, but you sometimes get in a little bit of a trap, don't you, in terms of how do you be a people pleaser? How do you overcome fear? But you've explained everything. That all these insecurities is what we go through when you're at that line of, do I stay safe or do I go for it?
Yes, yeah.
I'm a
And
firm believer.
I think and you're right. You're absolutely right. It's daily insecurities, and you can't let insecurities. One thing that we've all learned, Ryan, in the last 2 years is no one knows what's around the corner. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So you need to live today.
You've got to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. So I've set myself a goal. I want to sell by the end of the year 5 franchise territories. That is the first time I've said that out loud.
Well, I'm going to get you back on the podcast in a year's time. And you can reveal it.
I've got the agility season coming up,
It's going to be good.
A lady that I really like down in Devon, she runs a massively successful training business. She competes for the country. She does this, she does that. And I was having a chat with her, and she said to me, somebody told her one day that you can't have it all. And she decided to go and prove them wrong. You can have it all, and you can have your cherry on top.
That's it. Be different. I like it. But before we sort of end the podcast, obviously the franchise, you're looking for people to obviously purchase your franchise.
Yes, yeah.
Who are you looking for? What kind of candidates do you want? And
okay, so yes, they have to, excuse me, they have to apply. So they have to have over 500 hours of dog canine experience, hands-on experience. That's not just dog ownership. So dog walkers, dog groomers. I've got a couple of people that have tried to apply that I've sent to go and help in rescue centres and places like that. And they have to have had an academic as well. So because it's unregulated, anyone can become a dog trainer. I wanted to put that in place again. I didn't want to write my own academics because there's so many companies out there that do some amazing ones that are really, really good at it. So so that's kind of my grounds for application. And kind of like-minded people, like-minded people that you need to have over 8 hours a week spare to go and teach. So I would say with the admin and everything else, you're probably looking at 12, 13 hours for it to make you money. Otherwise you're not going to make money out of it yourselves. Obviously the more you put into it, the better. So what I'm going to do, I'm keeping my dog training side. I love teaching people still, but obviously that will rein back a little bit. And what I want to try and do is build up a mentorship of, so many dog trainers give up because we reach that exhaustion point. It must be the same in every business, I would think. So we lose, especially coming out of the pandemic and everything. So I'm building up, what I want to do is build up a community of franchise owners and dog trainers, and I'm going to support them. So I'm approaching like different mental health places, like spa days, and I don't want it just to be about women. I know men like spas as well, but I do want to attract men as well, but kind of go ape and go out and go and have corporate days. There's going to be a franchise award every year, so the top franchise person will award everything.
It's a nice little community. Yeah,
that's exactly what I want for the brand. So
let's face it, being a business owner, it can be a lonely experience. So if you're part of a team,
it is really low. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. These I was looking into it before we went into the pandemic, but you can get these like groups, can't you? Like coffee morning type people where
networking events kind of thing.
Where you going along, and I mean I don't have time to do that, but you're right, running your own business is massively lonely because at the decision that you make, the buck stops at you.
Yeah, that's it. Whereas if you're part of a team, obviously I'm part of a franchise with Justin Chase.
And do you like that? Do you feel supported?
I much prefer it, because I looked at the options of completely going out as Ryan Stanton, setting up a branch and doing all the traditional estate agency. But you know what? Times have changed. You don't need that anymore. And the way I look at it, how I run my business, I only work with a handful of clients at one go. So that means I can give them a better sort of customer service, if you like. And if I'm stuck, I can speak to the other people involved in Justin Chase and say, oh, look, I've come across this. What would you do in this scenario?
Yeah.
And that's what
exactly
you want
what
with
I
a franchise.
Yeah. So what I've done to start with is I've set that up on Facebook. So we're going to have a closed, like a secret Facebook group where we can, you know, it's a dog trainer, you're struggling, you come and talk to us. You know, I'm hoping at one point that will get onto an app, but my website team have just had to install a new server because the traffic like kicked the website out, and they're like, you need your own designated server, and I'm like, oh my god, like, how does that happen? So eventually it'll be via an app or something, but again, I don't want to take the personal thing. So once a month I intend to, if I can't get everybody together, certainly this sort of thing is amazing, you know, and just so that people feel supported. We're in it together, we're in life together, right? No one gets out alive.
And that's it. And you've all got to share ideas and grow together, which is good. But no, I wish you the best of luck with it, Emma. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
But how do people get in contact with you? What's the sort of contact details?
They can get on the website now. Now I haven't crashed it. So the website is the best place, which is still being run under Essex Dog Training. So it's www.essexdogtraining.co.uk. That will bring us through to the head office. So, because what we're doing now with the Facebook pages is there'll be territory Facebook pages. So yeah, the website will be the best place to get in contact with us.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I will get you on again in the future.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I've taken on the world by then.
I can't wait. See you soon.
It's been amazing, Ryan.